The ocean swallows everything. Ships vanish without distress signals, planes disappear mid-flight, leaving behind only eerie debris and unanswered questions. And you are floating in the water, suspended in an endless, suffocating blue, the light above you fading as something pulls you deeper. Your legs kick uselessly, your breath burning in your lungs. And below you, nothing. No bottom, no end, just an abyss. So vast and dark that it feels less like water and more like the maw of some ancient beast, opening wider the longer you stare. Tonight we're going to be exploring thalassophobia, not just a fear of large bodies of water, but a feeling of unease, simply not knowing what lurks beneath the waves. The idea of standing on a boat, looking down into the inky depths, and realizing with cold certainty that you are an intruder here. Something, perhaps something enormous, something hungry, could be rising toward you right now in the dark. The deep sea is the last great mystery of our planet. A realm so alien it might as well be another world. Covering over 65% of the Earth's surface, the deep ocean remains more than 80% unexplored. For context, as I was researching this topic, I discovered that we have apparently mapped the moon and Mars in greater detail than our own seabed. And yet what little we have discovered is absolutely astonishing. I am drawn to it with the same morbid fascination that makes me stare into space. When I was a very young child, the first movie that I ever watched was Finding Nemo. And the DVD had a ton of bonus features. Do you guys remember when DVDs had cool interactive menus and like games and extra behind the scenes stuff? Anyways, Nemo in particular had multiple like mini documentaries about the ocean. And I have always been so interested in aquatic life. It's very beautiful to me. It's just very weird and pretty. The first difficult book I ever read was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which was difficult for me. I vividly remember the very first page having like 4 or 5 words that I had never even seen before, didn't know how to pronounce, didn't know what they meant. I think I was like 8 or 9 when I read it. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I was subjected to a lot of ocean propaganda. The colors, the vibrancy, the strangeness of it. I just love sea creatures. Like, I have thalassophobia, but I enjoy it. It's hard to explain, but it's like yes. Cthulhu is going to consume all of us, and you know what? I think I'm okay with that. We will descend into a lot of different things that might trigger your fear for fun, for education, you know, the whole 9 yards. This video is basically a list of things that I've been learning about recently that are very interesting to me. The psychological elements of thalassophobia, reasons why the ocean scares us on such a fundamental level, and we will confront real-life monsters of the deep. You thought that opening video was real, you idiot? We're going to be confronting the real-life monsters of the deep, the suffocating pressure of the abyss, and the realization of just how small and fragile we are in the face of the unfathomable. If you didn't already have thalassophobia before this video, then I apologize, because it's probably going to give it to you. So this is your final warning. Still interested? Are you lured by the thought of knowledge? Well then, the water is waiting. Let us begin. Hey Daniel, gonna need to stop you right there for a second. Just shut up, because today the video has a sponsor. Welcome back to Interdimensional Cable. Today, we're going to talk torsos. Are you lonely? Well, I recently found a spicy toy company called Tantally. They make these limbless torsos perfect for any horror fan, made of food-grade material, very soft, with free shipping to more than 30 countries. The realism of the skin texture is beyond imagination, and, best of all, it comes in discreet packaging. So you don't need to worry about your privacy. And I have a special offer for all viewers. You can use the code LEGION to enjoy a 12% discount on all products. You're gonna look at this product and then not have time for YouTube anymore. Thank you, Tantally, for paying 1/4 of my rent. I hope vibrators are in the cards for the next video, mainly because I need one. Our ancestors feared the deep for good reason. To them, the ocean was a borderless grave, home to storms that swallowed ships and creatures too vast to comprehend. Even today, our brains retain that primal warning. The sight of endless water triggers a subconscious alarm. There is no escape here. No shelter, no control, just the yawning unknown where predators move unseen and the rules of our world do not apply. Studies have shown that humans instinctively react to large, open bodies of water with heightened anxiety. The ocean's surface is a lie, a thin, shimmering veil over a world of teeth and tentacles and things that have never known the sunlight. Fear thrives in darkness, and the ocean is the darkest place on Earth. Below 200 meters, sunlight vanishes, and what remains is a crushing blackness, where life takes on grotesque, nightmarish forms. Thrashing only pulls you down deeper, screaming only fills your lungs with salt, and your curiosity led you here. Below the thin veneer of waves lies a world so alien and so uniquely hostile that it defies human comprehension. It's just not designed for us, you know? The ocean has always haunted us, not just in reality, but in our stories, our nightmares, our collective unconscious. Every culture that has ever faced the sea has conjured monsters to explain its horrors. And today, our films and our legends continue this tradition. Because the truth remains unchanged, the deep is where our oldest fears reside. Legends of sea monsters might not be pure fantasy, but the ones we're going to be talking about right this second are. And you might wonder why I chose to alliteratively feature fiction first, but frankly, it's freaking obvious. Fiction is generally inspired by reality, and after a cursory glance at what humans came up with that doesn't exist, we're going to be diving deep, pun intended, for the 30th time, into a reality that is much scarier and stranger than fiction. The Leviathan, a beast so vast it could make the depths churn like a boiling cauldron. 99% sure that's a Bible verse. The Kraken, a cephalopod so enormous that its rising was mistaken for an island. Sailors told of its tentacles dragging ships down so fast that the suction would create whirlpools that would drown survivors. Then we have Scylla and Charybdis, which were two fearsome monsters who resided on opposite sides of a narrow strait, making it impossible for ships to pass without facing one of two perils. Scylla was a six-headed monster, while Charybdis was a massive whirlpool. The author H.P. Lovecraft has a bunch of stories discussing deep-sea entities. To him, it seems the ocean was alive, and when it wasn't uncaring, it just actively hated us. The easiest example is just The Call of Cthulhu from 1928, a fractured story of a person slowly piecing together information and deciphering dreams until he discovers something very evil is taking root in the world and swaying the minds of the bleeding hearts and artists and those with weak minds, preparing for a doom that will arrive when the stars above swing into alignment again. A city sunk beneath the Pacific, housing a slumbering god whose dreams drive men mad, and the cults whisper, "Dead Cthulhu waits dreaming." And there are obviously many examples in film of terrifying underwater encounters that try to capture what it feels like to see something down there that maybe you weren't supposed to see. A movie I saw recently, which was James Cameron's The Abyss from 1989, is a fantastic example of this, where a deep-sea crew encounters non-human intelligence. That whole bit is beautiful, but the real horror of the movie is the crushing pressure, the claustrophobia, and the slow-motion panic of drowning, of dying beneath the waves that kind of permeates the entire movie. It's almost like a disaster film. And to round this out, of course, we can't forget video games. There's Subnautica, the survival game that quickly becomes psychological horror. The deeper you dive, the more the environment seems to resist you. Warped creatures, echoing roars, this thing called a reef-back Leviathan, and so much worse. Soma, which is a sci-fi nightmare set in a drowned research facility where the monsters are humans merged with machines. Or, of course, Iron Lung, the claustrophobic submarine game where players navigate an ocean of blood on an alien moon, listening to something thump against the hull. All right, guys, now's the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to talk about real creatures, real monsters. The giant squid, a creature of myth, longer than a school bus, with eyes the size of dinner plates and tentacles lined with serrated suckers. It brings to mind the leviathans or krakens that we read about in old texts, and I can't help but wonder if it potentially inspired those. Anglerfish, creatures that shine lights to entice their prey to come and willingly be eaten. Females dangle bioluminescent lures in front of needle-filled jaws, while the males fuse onto the females, dissolving into parasitic sacs of sperm, so that's fun. Frilled shark, which is a living fossil, an eel-like predator with a weirdly human grin. What the hell? Barrel eye fish. I love this one. A transparent skull that reveals its glowing tubular eyes, which rotate upward to spot prey. It stares at you through its own forehead. I mean, look at this thing. What the fuck? The Greenland shark, a 500-year-old leviathan that swims in slow motion. Its flesh laced with toxins so potent that eating it induces hallucinations. Vikings apparently fed them to their enemies to drive them mad. Yeti crabs, blind hairy crustaceans that farm bacteria with its claws near boiling vents. They look like something that crawled out of a nuclear reactor. The black swallower, a small but terrifying fish that eats prey twice its size, its stomach ballooning like a grotesque pouch. And it will die if it doesn't digest its meal fast enough. A victim of its own gluttony. Idiot. And here's some zombie worms. These bone-eating parasites dissolve whale skeletons with acid, which can turn the skeletons into living reefs. What's really fun is that as climate change has warmed surface waters, what were once deep-sea creatures have been migrating upward. The giant squid, for example, which was once confined to abyssal trenches, has now been appearing near shores. Stars are aligning. Doomsday is here. Cthulhu is coming to get us all. Another scary thing about the depths of the ocean is the pressure. For example, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the pressure is 8 tons per square inch. Enough to crumple submarines like soda cans. Human bodies are not meant to exist here. At these depths, your lungs would collapse, your bones would splinter, and your blood would boil, if not for the pressure keeping it contained. Even the most advanced submersibles can only endure the abyss for a few hours before the sea begins to creak into their hulls, a constant reminder that one crack means annihilation. Hydrothermal vents spew toxic, superheated water and are surrounded by towering mineral chimneys. These black smokers sustain ecosystems of extremophiles, creatures thriving in conditions that should melt flesh. Tube worms grow 10 feet tall here, blind shrimp swarm in boiling currents. The water is laced with sulfur and heavy metal, a broth that would kill any surface organism. In my opinion, these vents are the closest thing to an alien world that we have here on Earth. Did you know that when a whale dies, its body sinks into the abyss? A phenomenon called a whale fall. Then, for years after its death, its rotting flesh will sustain an entire necropolis of scavengers, a whole new ecosystem. Hagfish that slither through the eye sockets, and those zombie worms we were talking about will dissolve the bones so that bacteria can thrive on the marrow. In the eternal dark, creatures balloon into living titans, defying typical logic of what scale is supposed to be. And scientists call this deep-sea gigantism, a phenomenon where the deep ocean spawns creatures of unnatural size. For example, the colossal squid, which is larger than the giant squid, if you can imagine that, with hooks lined along its tentacles to eviscerate its prey. Its eyes are the size of basketballs. Then there's the Japanese spider crab, a 12-foot wide spindled horror that skulks the seafloor scavenging corpses. It can live for upwards of a century, growing larger, slower, and just more ancient with each passing year. The oarfish, a serpent-like leviathan, stretching up to 36 feet long, and so rare that sightings were once dismissed as sea dragon myths. Walls close in, visibility drops to zero. and one flick of a fin stirs up silt, blinding you in seconds. Underwater caves, for me, are like panic rooms. The Eagle's Nest sinkhole in Florida is dubbed the Mount Everest of cave diving, and this submerged death trap has claimed expert divers. Narrow tunnels open into vast chambers where disorientation is instant. One wrong turn and you are lost forever in a maze of stalactites and bones. You have blue holes in the Bahamas, and these underwater pits are anoxic. Their lower layers devoid of oxygen, preserving pristine, bloated corpses. Explorers have found ancient human remains, their flesh still fully intact. The Devil's Throat in Mexico is a cave that descends straight down into blackness, where divers report hearing whispers in the currents. The walls are lined with hydrogen sulfide clouds. Inhale these and your lungs will fill with poison. Cave-dwelling creatures are blind, pale, and ravenous. For example, the Mexican blind cavefish has no eyes, just teeth and hunger. And if they scare you, you might want to ascend, but ascending too fast means nitrogen bubbles from your gear start shredding your blood vessels. Thankfully, there's no surface to reach anyways, because you're lost in a cave. The deep is not silent. It is alive and calling to us in a language that we cannot understand. Hydrophones lowered into the deep ocean have captured noises that defied explanation, reverberating through the water like the screams or calls of something ancient and angry. The bloop from 1997 was a sound so powerful that it was heard across 3,000 miles of Pacific Ocean, initially theorized to be a creature yet unknown to humans. Since then, we have been told that the most likely cause is an ice quake or an iceberg scraping against the ocean floor. Then there's upsweep, an unidentified sound detected on the American NOAA's Equatorial Autonomous Hydrophone Arrays. This sound was present when the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory began recording its sound surveillance system in August 1991. It consists of a long train of narrow band upsweeping sounds of several seconds in duration each, and the source level is high enough to be recorded throughout the Pacific. The sound appears to be seasonal, generally reaching peaks in spring and autumn, and it is currently unclear whether this is due to changes in the source or seasonal changes in the propagation environment. Scientists and researchers speculate the sound to be volcanic activity underwater. And for one last sound-related fun fact, it's not even a fact, I just want you to listen to the sound of whales calling to each other, because I think that's one of the scariest things about the ocean. Listen to this shit. The ocean is the last truly wild place on Earth, a realm where human laws, religions, traditions, philosophies, it all means absolutely nothing. It doesn't care about your wars, your art, your love. It simply is ancient, endless, and utterly indifferent. Let's talk about sunken cities for a second. Civilizations rise and fall, but the ocean keeps what it takes. Some scientists argue that most advanced civilizations inevitably are going to destroy themselves. And if that is true, then the ocean might be Earth's graveyard, not just for us, but for species or humans that came before us. There are massive angular structures 80 feet underwater in Japan, with staircases and pillars that could be natural, except for the hauntingly precise 90-degree angles. And if man-made, it is likely that they sank over 10,000 years ago. Wonder what happened to the builders? And here's a 5,000-year-old city in Greece, preserved in shallow waters, its streets still visible. Skeletons found in the ruins show no sign of violence, just sudden mass drowning. Then in India, dredging detected a sprawling metropolis about 120 feet down, with pottery and human remains carbon dated to 9,500 BCE. And obviously that would predate all recorded known human civilization. However, this discovery is controversial and hotly contested, since all of the work done on the site was dredging and not a structured archaeological excavation. Then on top of that, some of the supposed artifacts that were displayed were later confirmed to be naturally occurring rock formations and not man-made tools, as was asserted by the discoverers. And it's just interesting to me because every other environment on Earth has been to some extent conquered, right? We have scaled mountains, crossed deserts, and even survived in space long enough to map out Mars. But the deep sea, we can't breathe in it, we can't see in it, we can't survive without technology that's so fragile that a single leak would mean instant death. If you think about it, the tide doesn't come in, it takes back. In the grand scheme of Earth's history, we are nothing more than a fleeting ripple on its surface, a temporary anomaly, a brief spark of consciousness in an eternal, crushing dark. For all of our technology and all of our bravado, we have never conquered the sea. And the moment that the ocean decides to remind us of our place through a storm or a riptide or just something rising from below, we are reduced to what we have always been: fragile, screaming things, clinging desperately to wreckage. The universe above is powerful in its indifference, but the ocean is strange in its intimacy. It's not light years away like the void, it's right here, lapping at our ankles, pressed snugly against our coasts, whispering, in my dreams, the womb from which life crawled and the grave to which it will return. And yet, there is a strange comfort in knowing I am small. I spend my life building shields against fear, careers, routines, illusions of control, but the ocean laughs at this. It has swallowed mountains greater than my grief, civilizations more brilliant than my dreams, and yet the same crushing pressure that could snap my bones also cradles entire ecosystems of life. The darkness that triggers my primal fear hides wonders beyond my imagination. That same abyss mirrors my mortality, and it reflects courage, because to know that the depths exist and to feel that icy dread in your chest and to still stand at the shore, to still look down, that curiosity, that need to learn is what separates us. It was here before us, and if we vanish, it will remain, shifting, glowing, singing its silent songs in the dark. In the depths we find that mirror, the same resilience that lets a snailfish survive in the Mariana Trench lives in us, the same ancient rhythms that guide leatherback turtles across entire oceans also pulse in our blood. To love the sea is to love something greater than ourselves. It is to stand at the edge of the unknown and feel not fear, but reverence. Because the most beautiful things are often the ones that we don't fully understand yet, something that invites deeper observation. The ocean didn't ask for my admiration or for my obsession, but it deserves it all the same. I'm afraid I lied to you. This video was never meant to scare you. I mean, I definitely feel that pit in my stomach when I think about the things that should not be. That's a Metallica reference. But I also want more people to see it like I do, you know? You can't look at jellyfish and not want to just go live in the ocean. These things are so beautiful. Colossal squid, more like colossally interesting. Did you know that there's a thing in the ocean that instead of dying can revert back into being a baby and grow up again? It's functionally, hypothetically immortal? What the hell kind of crack is being smoked? Huge thank you to everyone on Patreon, especially It's Bees, Lori, Justin Schreck, and Joseph A. Miller, and also Coyote, Cuba, Bat Noise, Bees, Boris, Ray, Tom, Dave, Elkie, Nude, George, AJ, Dark Beast, Blackest Bile, Phoenix, Panflute, Thomas, Audrey, Lou, ZK, Stardrop, Mr. Fox, Joy, and Amelia. See you in the next transmission. We are Legion.